I'm excited to chat with you because there's this new movie here, Reflect. It's funny, it's weird,
Yes,
it's
that's weird.
in- interesting, it's wonderful. I think there's so many facets to it. Where did this idea for the film come from?
Oh my gosh, a lot of places. I think it was a fusion of my own backstory, struggling with mental health and addiction, making friends, and my own connection to myself. And I also think I was reading the Red Book by Carl Jung and The Heroine's Journey by Maureen Murdoch, which is a new take on the hero's journey from a female perspective. And I think all of that just came together and birthed Reflect.
It's such an interesting film. Were you always in mind to play Summer, or did she just happen to find her way to you?
Yeah, I didn't need to. I think it just happened that way. I think because it was a pretty personal movie and a lot of the things I had experienced, it's almost like almost all of the girls were like a different part of me. Not in every way. Like I haven't experienced an eating disorder and I am straight, but a lot of the things that my friends have gone through and me kind of prismed into these five girls. But the main character, Summer, was so close to me. So it kind of just happened.
How hands-on were you when it came to casting this? I love Grace Patterson, so I'm a little bit biased how wonderful this is. And of course, you.
Yes, Grace. Oh, Grace is one of my good friends. So I've known Grace. We auditioned for a lot of the same stuff and we met in the casting room a couple years ago. So she's always been a very like self-starter and just different than a lot of people I meet, like very, very powerful and on the ground running. So I wanted to include her in this. She's always, stayed connected with me. And then her cousin Marissa actually plays Annie. And then this Ariana, who plays Nia, I found through my friend who was on the reality show Big Brother. Her name is Audrey Middleton. She connected me with Ariana because they're friends. And then I casted Jadelyn, has also been my friend who plays Liz. So I just casted my friends.
I think everyone plays their part so wonderfully. Um, was there much room to improv when it came to day of? Since you all are such close friends, did they suggest things for you, or were you very by the book when it came? Were you precious or not precious when it came to the material?
Yeah, I think I would have been more precious if I was just directing and caught everything, but because I was acting in it, I kind of like let some things loose, which is fine. But yeah, we did improv a bit. I was like, because when I would be acting in the scene, they'd improv a little bit, and I think I was so in the character I didn't really catch it. And then watching it back, I'm like, I did not write that, but it all happened how it's supposed to.
So many wonderful scenes. This is clearly a theme of, I think I love you is sort of like an underlying theme because it's
Yes.
said so much throughout the film. Why was that such important thing for it to be constantly featured?
Yes, you're the first person to say that, and that's very so the crazy thing about this film, and I'll be super transparent, like looking back at it at first, I didn't love it. I was very hard on it because I was like, oh, I picture being the next Chris Nolan, like this isn't Interstellar, like it's lower budget, like oh god, like what have I done? And then as the years have gone on watching it, I'm like, oh my god, like I appreciate this film so much for what it is. And it was literally a love people write to understand themselves and I write to understand myself. I don't really know what's going to happen when I'm writing. And I think this film's core message from myself to myself was I love you. And I hope that it also brings people that message of their inner selves just screaming out to them, like connect back with me, like I love you. Like we're so disconnected these days. And yeah, it's awesome you said that because that's exactly what the core message is.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll give myself a little pat on the back.
Mm-hmm.
All of the scene work, I think, and the cinematography to this is just astounding. It's lights there, it's visceral
Thanks.
watching these scenes. um was there a scene that you saw play out on screen, or maybe even while you were filming, that you really were exceptionally proud of, or maybe one that turned out differently than you had planned out, but obviously in a good way?
Yes. So I think the almost last scene, and I won't spoil what happens, but when I'm in the cave and looking over everything after some things have happened, just like the sunlight was hitting right, The landscape looked beautiful. Like that is like my favorite scene just because of like the lighting and how, and we just, Bernie Tarrant, my cinematographer, he lit that with nothing but one of those, I'm sorry, I don't know the terminology, but one of the like things that shine onto your face, like the shiny boards, light boards. That's all he did was he was reflecting the sun onto my face. And then, you know, obviously we had natural light and the cave was dark. So we didn't have very harsh light. It was more like sunlight kind of pouring in a certain way. But that was my favorite thing. And that scene wasn't even planned. So the whole ending of the movie was completely different. And we couldn't get it filmed when we were there the first time because I was like emotionally spent. And I was like, I cannot do my emotional scenes. We have to come back and do these. So 3 months later, I took a small crew back. We came back. I rewrote the end of the film by that time. And then we did that scene. So it was very random.
How did it feel then revisiting the script to readjust the ending, and then B, revisiting this place that you had been to and now you had to film these emotional scenes? Certainly taxing in both in both aspects, right?
Yeah, it was interesting since I'm glad I kind of did the filming almost in order because I was able at the end. I mean, I was having real emotions. Like I was proud of myself, but there was also still like this lingering feeling of my work's not done. Like this is almost like the beginning. Like I've uncovered this trauma and these things that I've been thinking my whole life. And now I'm aware of them and the real work begins of like digging in them. So my last 2 years is almost it's almost like a girl, like you know, a woman on the precipice of something new and about to dive deeper into hell in a way. So it's very interesting, but at the same time, she's like more herself. It was a very interesting feeling.
You talked a little bit maybe about filming this and scenes that you're proud of, and obviously scenes that were more difficult now for you to film. Was there a scene where you had to speak with the cast and sort of help them get like truly what you were envisioning on the page? I mean, obviously you did a read through beforehand, but did you spend some time talking about a particular scene on set to truly get what you wanted from that moment?
Yeah, yeah. We didn't have too much rehearsal time because of the budget of the film, but we definitely did a read through and I talked to all the actors on their own. So I kind of talked to everyone about who their character was, how it related to them, like what they wanted for their character, how we could kind of make things pop. I think my biggest thing as a director is I want the actors to make it their own. I'm not super precious with my stuff. So my thing was really to make sure they were relaxed and felt like they were in a safe environment, so there wasn't pressure and they can kind of just let themselves unfold. So my biggest thing through talking to them was making sure everyone was comfortable, happy, and feeling open to experiment.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the appearance of Dash Katz in this.
Yeah,
People tend to know him these days from his work on Squid Games.
yeah.
Was that sort of surreal for you looking back? You've had someone who participated in such an epic contest, and now here he is bringing light to the wonderful work he's done on your movie.
Yeah, I love him. So he's a good friend of mine too. I kind of know him from the whole reality TV world. So I think I'm pretty sure I met him through Audrey Middleton as well. I mean, he was so positive on set. I absolutely love him. And yes, we had no idea that he would become this like Squid Games queen. So yeah, it's really cool. It's magical to see, and I'm so happy for him. I know he wants to act more. So I think he's building an amazing platform for representation as well. And yeah, I'm honored to have him in my film.
We touched on it a bit about the love aspect of the movie, but is there even more of an emotion or a specific message other than, remind yourself to love yourself that you hope people take away when they watch this movie?
Yes. I have a lot of hopes of people taking things away. I think in a broader sense, the main thing I wanted was to inspire people to be more curious about themselves and the world and start asking more questions inside and outwards. And also for people, the reason the film's called Reflect, to reflect, like take some time to really go inwards and look at your past and your life, because that is what is going to predict our future. And there's so many people who are just running through life. And I think it's very important to, not for too long, but in the beginning of a healing process, to reflect on how you feel about yourself and how you treat others. And yeah, I think the two buzzwords are really like reflecting and connection. Yeah.
What's next for you, Dana? Have you been busy working on other projects, maybe in front of the screen or still behind the screen?
Yeah, so I have a couple things. So coincidentally, the this movie I was in called Hellhounds, I think it's with Uncorked Entertainment, comes out the same day as my film, January 9th. I acted in that. I'm a detective, or a bounty hunter. And then my next film that I am directing is called Inanna. It's based on the Sumerian goddess Inanna's descent into hell, and it's a modern day story about grief and loss mixed with an apocalypse and plasma physics. It's a science fiction film, and we'll be filming that, fingers crossed, this summer. And it's a bigger budget film, so I'm very excited.
What would you like to say then to everyone who are fans and supporters of the incredible work you do on our screens, behind and front? It's just magical that you seem to have such a gift for both acting and directing.
I guess my thing to say would be to anyone who wants to do any of these things to keep going and never give up. And if I could do this, anyone can. I think it's all about your vision. And if you're clear on what story you want to tell in your vision, you can do the same thing as someone who's been doing this 20 years, gone to film school. Like, yes, you build your craft over time, but just have confidence in who you are and your uniqueness. And if people tell you no or you keep failing, just keep on pushing through.